I'm going to show you how I got to the highest rank in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, Master 1. I also went on a 5-game win streak to get there. Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, I'm going to showcase Tri-Brigade Sprite, the deck that I used to get to the highest rank there, and this is the deck list. It's 41 cards. I know, a little bit off, but there isn't a card that I would want to cut here, besides maybe switching out Triple Tack for 3 other tech cards, like for example, Dark Rulers, or Harpy's Feather Duster, and like Lightning Storms, or something like that. Triple Tack it was good when it went off, it just wasn't active that often. So let's quickly talk about let's quickly do the card by card, starting off with Tri-Brigade. Now, Tri-Brigade is an archetype that has been around for a really long time, and has been on the limited list for a while, with Fractal at 2. And the reason for that is because the deck is incredibly consistent. Fractal is full combo. A normal summon of Nerval can also be full combo. It also ends on, like, Shureg during the opponent's turn with things like Revolt, so it does make sense as to why it is so good. And here it pairs very well with the sprites, because guess what? Kit and Karos are both 2s, giving you access to not only the Tri-Brigade stuff with Shureg on the opponent's turn, or, you know, the DDL, or Farajit and Bearbrum and stuff like that, but also on top of that you have all of the sprite stuff with Red and Carrot and Elf and etc, etc. So there's that. So we're going to start off here with the 2 Nerval. Normally you play 3, but the reason we're playing 2 is because it's a 1. It's not as good as, like, Kit itself, and so it's just not as useful. And since it doesn't quite do the same as, like, Fractal would, we're only playing the 2. It's kind of the weakest of the Tri-Brigades in this instance. Next up, we're playing the 2 Karos. This is actually the weakest of the Tri-Brigades, because it actually doesn't really do anything except for get itself from the field, or from the hand onto the field, by discarding another Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast, allowing you to pitch something like a Kit, which is very nice, and then get another 2 on the field with a special summon, not relying on the normal or starter. Next up, we have Kit. 3 of this. Best one. It mills another Tri-Brigade card. It's a 2. It's easy to normal summon and then link it off for like an Almirage. It's just like the best one. Next up, we have the Fractal. We're playing 2 Fractal, pretty standard there. And this card, again, sends itself to the grave to mill a Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast, normally the Kit, and then you can just go from there. Also, it's big, 1900 as a normal summon. It's absolutely insane, so there you go. And then we're playing 1 Revolt. Revolt actually is very, very good, and oftentimes part of the end board, and the reason for that is because even though your board does get a bit clogged, if you have like Smashers and a few of your Sprite, your Carrot and your Red, you're able to like clear your board enough to go for Shureg during the opponent's turn with Revolt, and then, you know, banish the card. So there's that. Yeah. As for the rest of the cards, we are also running, of course, the Nimble package, triple Nimble Beaver and 1 Angler. Angler just isn't as good in this build because even off of Sprint, we can send other cards like Kit, so we don't even need to send the Angler to the graveyard for the Nimble stuff. So there you go. And we also have other normal summons and just like a normal summon Kit as well. So there's that. As for the sprites, we're playing obviously 2 blue. We're only playing 2 jet, and that's because, again, we already have a whole bunch of other 2s. Like, having an additional name doesn't matter as much, and we have some pretty good access to both halves, even with the 2 jet. And it's ban list appropriate, right? Then we have the 1 red and the 1 carrot. As for the rest of the cards in the deck, we're playing, you know, triple Maxi, triple Ash Blossom, triple Infip. These are almost necessary at this point. They're so good against basically all of the decks, but more importantly, Maxi and Ash are necessary because of Maxi existing. So there you go. Then, of course, we have ourselves the triple tactics. This could be basically anything. This is the most flexible spot in the list, and the reason for that is because triple tech just kind of didn't do a whole lot. Like, it's decent against Sprite, but not too great, and it's decent against some of the other decks. Like, it's good if you get hand trapped and stuff like that. I like it the most. I think right now it's pretty good with like Bestials and Tearlaments and all sorts of hand traps and stuff like that. But with Imperm being like the most common hand trap, besides, you know, Maxi and Ash, it's just not as useful. Then, of course, we have the Foolish Burial, we have the double Called By, the 1 Crossout, we have, of course, double Starter, and the 1 Smashers. We're not playing Gamma Burst, we don't really need it. We have access to Shureg, we have access to Rugal, we have, you know, Fractal. We have some big attack point monsters. We don't really need access to the Gamma Burst. So there's that. As for the extra deck, we're running 1 Mannequin Cat. This comes up a lot, mostly as a way to just get a beast onto your field with the Thunders. If you didn't know, Tri-Brigade do lock you into only using Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monsters as link material. So going into Mannequin Cat with 2 of your 2s, like for example a Jet and a Blue, allows you to then use that as a link material to go into something like an Elf. So there's that. We're playing the 2 Gigantic. This could be cut down to 1. It depends on how you want to specifically play. I had it come up a few times where having the 2nd Gigantic was important and mattered, but honestly, most of the time it didn't. But there are a few flex spots in the extra deck. This is one of them. We have the 1 Almirage. This is almost necessary. It's almost not, but it is, I would say, necessary. You could cut it, but you'd be risking a lot. In weaker hands where you basically only have your Tri-Brigade half, it's very important. You go normal summon a Tri-Brigade, send it to the graveyard, specifically one of these 2. Send it to the graveyard with the Almirage, trigger the effect to grab up your, whatever it may be, the Fractal, the Karos, what have you, and then you can go Karos special summon itself to then banish 2 for your Farigite or something along those lines. So it's definitely worth it. Next up, we have ourselves the IP Masquerena. We have the DDL. This card's very, very good. Most of the time, you're going to want it in your end board. Being able to bounce something is very nice against a lot of decks. The only deck that it's not as great against is, like, Sprite. But if they go normal summon, like, a generic Sprite, like red or something like that, you just bounce it. It's great. Of course, we have the 1 Farigite, the 1 Bearbrum. We have the double Elf. We have ourselves 1 Sprint. Sprint is just very good. You can also use it as part of the end board with like a Gigantic on your field, and then you get an additional bounce, which is great. We have Rugal. Rugal is also another one that's very useful when it comes up, and comes up very rarely. The reason for it is because sometimes you only have 2 zones and you still have the Revolt, but you need to gain the advantage, or like you want to gain the advantage off of your Revolt activation with like a Nerval Surge or something like that. So being able to go Rugal in, with your Farigite that you've properly summoned and a kit or something like that is very, very useful. On top of that, just having access to a 3 with good arrows is also pretty nice, because you can like banish 3 and then you can like link off your monster that you used to special summon this guy and this guy to go for like Apo, which is also pretty nice. And then of course we have the 2 Shureg and an Apo. 1 Shureg could be enough. I had 2 Shureg come up quite often. It's very useful for like OTKs in particular, because you can go like, if you already have a Shureg on your field but you can't quite OTK, you can then on the next turn normal summon a Tri-Brigade, and then go for the 2nd Shureg, or you could then link off the Shureg and search out another Tri-Brigade, and then go for the 2nd Shureg to actually grab your OTK. So that's it for the deck. Let's hop into the replays and show you how this deck performed. Alright, so here we are going first, and that's a pretty decent hand if I do say so myself. Starting off with that Beaver, obviously, we're going to activate the effect, and we're going to grab up that other Beaver. We're going to go for the Jet here, they're going to Ash that. I'm like, that's not going to happen. Now, this is a bit risky, because if they have the Max C and they've held it up until this point, like, then I get punished a bit, and I don't really get to play the game. But I'm like, there's no way that they held that after the Nimble Beaver. They would have definitely had it. Just chose not to. So we're going to go and cross out that Ash and grab up that starter. I personally tend to go for the starter with Jet if I have access to, like, even if I had basically full combo, I still grab the starter. I think having access to red or carrot is much more important, as well as not having to rely on Gigantic to grab blue is also very nice. So while Smasher is very good and it's very good disruption, I just don't value it as much. We're going to go for the Farigite to go for the Karos. Karos will then go for the DDL, and now we can go into the Xyz of Gigantic. Gigantic can then grab up the kit, and I'm actually going to detach the Farigite here to get a Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast, into the grave. So now we're going to, we draw into the Ash and just put it back. We're going to go for the Elf now here, because we had 2 Beasts, or Beast Warrior, or Winged Beasts. So now we can go for the Elf here. We can then send the Nerval grab Kit, and then we can go for the Elf here, grab up the Kit, and activate the Kit effect, banishing 2 to go for the Bearbrum. Here we can then go for the Carrot as well, and then we're going to link off those 2 for Sprint. The reason we're doing this is to go and activate the Bearbrum effect, and we're going to just chain block the Bearbrum with the Sprint, and I actually send red here because I'm like, well, I have Elf on the field. I can grab back that red if I need to, so there you go. And then we grab the Revolt, putting back the kit. We're going to set to end pass. So we have Sprint with the Gigantic Sprite. We have Carrot. We have DDL. We have Elf to grab blue. We have the Revolt if our board gets cleared, and the Infib. So I'm feeling pretty good. And this was all through the Ash Blossom. My opponent is going to start with Scream and then activate the Sheeran. And I realized, oh, I should probably have red on my field already. I was kind of playing around triple attack, but then I was like, well, I have Carrot. Shouldn't be worried about that. Anyway, doesn't really matter. We're going to grab the red here. Of course, they pitched the Kelbeck because, of course, they have it. I'm actually going to negate and destroy the Scream here. I get rid of the Gigantic. Was that the best of ideas? Maybe not. Maybe I should have gotten rid of, like, Elf or something like that. But hard to say. Now we don't really have access with Sprint to do anything. But they're going to go and mill some pretty mediocre cards, I'm not going to lie. But we do hit the Rhino Heart and the Scream, to which they are going to use. We also get to mill the Nerval. However, importantly, if we do that, we don't have access to the red negate, so I don't actually activate the effect of my Nerval here, so that I can make sure that I negate this Merly, and they chain blocked it poorly. So the Merly is chainlink 2, and the Rhino Heart is chainlink 1, which means I gotta go Imperm, chainlink 1, or Imperm negating the Rhino Heart as chainlink 1, and red negating the Merly as chainlink 3. So, or chainlink 2. So that's pretty nice for me. We basically get to get rid of everything, and hey, have you read Rhino Heart? Guess what? It means, or it has the effect where if it leaves the field, it banishes itself. So I'm going to just banish that and prevent them from basically having anything. We're going to go for the Snow here, or they're going to go for the Snow here. I think they think that the Scream is able to activate its effect because its effect was negated, but no, that's not the case. It activated its effect. It's not going to get it again, so they don't get the mills off of that Scream, even with the normal summon of the Snow here. I'm like, okay, cool. They flipped down my monster. Oh, another reason that I activated the DDL here was so that I could clear up room, because we have the Ferrigite as 2 link material. So now I can go for the Shureg here. And we know the last card in hand is Crime. They search it off of Scream. So we're going to go for the Crime, or we're going to go for the Shureg here. We're going to trigger the Ferrigite and the Nerval. We're going to draw the kit, and in turn draw the Beaver, and I put back the kit because it's funny. And then we banish their tier monster, and they walk over our Elf. At this point, the Crime is set, and at this point, we have lethal. The game is over, basically. We just kind of need to get there. I'm going to flip up the red and then go for the Beaver, and oops, all of the other Beavers are banished, so this does not trigger Shureg, but I can go Manakee Cat to trigger the Shureg. Shureg is then going to banish the Snow. They're going to concede, realizing the game is over. Good game. Alright, here we are once again going first, and that's a lot of sprites. So we're going to start, obviously, with the Tenki. We're going to grab up that Fractal. They decide to not do anything. We're going to go for the Nimble Angler Mill off of the Foolish Burial. Then we're going to activate its effect in order to grab up the 2 Beavers. Then we're going to go for the blue here, and I'm like, that's fine. We also special summon out the red. That's fine. We're going to link off into the Sprint here. We're going to activate the effect of the Sprint. They will activate Gamma, and I will say, no, goodbye Sprint, goodbye Gamma. If we had just simply negated with the red there, that wouldn't have really done anything. We had to negate and destroy, which is why I send the Sprint. We're going to send a Kit there. Kit will then send the Nerval. Nerval will grab Karos, obviously, and then I'm going to special summon in that Jet. Jet will grab Starter here, and then we can go and link off into Elf. Elf effect is then going to activate, and we're going to grab up that Kit that we milled earlier, and activate the Kit effect, banish 2 for Ferrigite. Ferrigite will then special summon the Fractal. I special summon it to the incorrect zone, although it doesn't really matter. No, that's not what happened. What happened is, I didn't have enough material in the grave, so I special summoned the Fractal, and then I can't do anything with it. So I activate the effect of the Fractal and just mill an additional 2 cards. I just normal summon the Karos here, and it basically does the same thing, because we could go for the DDL and then go for Appolousa using the rest of our monsters. And since we haven't used the Sprite Starter, I actually draw into Maxi, and I'm like, oh, I'll just put that back then. It doesn't really matter. They're going to go for the Druid Swarm, and I'm like, no, keep that in your hand. Thank you very much. So my opponent is going to start their turn, realize that the game is over, and concede. So this is just one of the showcases of, like, Appolousa and how you make Appolousa, and why, like, the Tri-Brigade stuff is still very good. Again, I couldn't lock myself with, like, the Sprite engine with, like, Starter or Gigantic, but alas, still very strong there. Alright, so here we are going second, and hey, that's a Maxi in my hand. And, Maxi, that didn't matter. Cool, I draw Imperm, sure. I'm going to start off here with the starter. My opponent will go for the Maxi, I will go for the Called By, and now I have 2 dead cards in my hand. Fantastic. That's fine, we should be fine, right? We're going to go for the blue here, they're going to activate the Veiler, yeah. I figured they didn't have anything. We're going to go and normal summon Kit here. Now, I'm almost certain that they have another point of interaction, mostly due to the fact that they just passed. So I'm like, they definitely have something. I'm going to go for the Elf here, Elf at least gets me something. I'm going to go for Kit, Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2 the Elf, and out comes the Impermanent. Like, yeah, that makes sense. So at the very least now, I can grab the Nerval, as well as I have the ability to go for Elf to grab back the blue for additional follow-up. I'm going to set the Imperm, deal 14, and pass. Now, these 2 Maxis aren't going to do anything, but I do have Imperm at the very least, so there's that. My opponent's going to go for the Lost here. I'm like, oh no! Anyway, Elf effect. We're going to go for the Elf. Elf grab blue, blue grab Jet for that additional follow-up. They're going to normal summon the Fallen of Volbas, and Tearlaments, if I did not have Imperm, I lose the game right here. But alas, we do, so it's fine. So we're going to Imperm them right there, and they're going to go to battle, walk over the Elf, and I'm like, cool, that's fine. We have game here. It doesn't really matter. They're going to go and activate the Branded in white and just reset it, I guess, because it's funny. And then at this point, it doesn't really matter what we do. We get to go Special Summon Jet, grab the Smasher. We get to go Normal Summon Fractal, Fractal Effect, grab 2, and then go for the Ferrigy, and then send the, and then Kit Effect, mill the, I think I milled Karos there. Go for the 2, doesn't really matter. The game's over. Alright, so here we are. Going second, I promise. We're actually going third. We're going to set 1 Called By. This was a mistake. I should have set double Infib. I don't know why I didn't, but it's fine. Because Dimension Shifter comes down and I go, no, we're not having that. No. 46% usage rate, by the way. Did you see that? It was 46%. That's crazy. That's insane. That's insane. Could you... Okay, anyway. Exorcister Stella. I'm going to Imperm that and say, no, that's not allowed. They're going to go to battle, set 2, and pass. Well, I sure hope that this this red has a 2 to... Hey, that's a 2. So we're going to normal summon the Kit, special summon the red, and then I go to battle here. And the reason I go to battle is because if they have Returnia here, we can deal with that pretty effectively without them having to... or without them really having any answer to that. They get to banish one of our monsters. They probably banish the Kit there, and then we just kind of have to pass. But we're going to attack with the Kit. Then we're going to go for the Sprint here. And now I'm betting that they have Imperm. We're going to go for the Kit. Of course they have the Imperm. Why would they not have the Imperm? That's fine. We'll dump the Nerval here. We'll go for the Nerval effect. Ash, okay. Sure. They could have actually done this much better. I'm going to go for the draw 2, and those are 2 of the worst draws I've ever seen in my entire life. And then I misplay with the setting of Infib. That's fine. Should have put it over here. Didn't really matter. They're going to go and start off with the Vadis. Because of course they have Vadis. They're going to go for the Mika here, activate the effect of the Mika. I'm obviously going to Imperm that. No, that's not allowed. They're going to chain, they're going to deal with the Sprint. That's fine. I negate. None of that. They're going to go to battle, walk in for 25, and pass the turn. Wow, that's crazy. Them literally having nothing here is so good. So they're going to fire off the Maxi, and I go, do I kill them here? Let's find out. I'm going to start with the normal summon of Kit. No matter what, I'm doing this. We're going to go for the DDL here. I am actually going to pitch the Angler. Because I'm like, well, at the very least, if I go for the Angler, I'm going to be able to OTK. And they have Ash! Are you kidding me? Of course! In the 3 cards in their hand. Of course. We're going to go for the Jet here. We're going to grab the starter. And then I'm going to go into Gigantic. Hey, Gigantic is very big. We're going to activate the effect of the starter here. The reason I go for this is because if they do have the Imperm, I want to be able to go and negate it. So that, at the very least, this Gigantic doesn't resolve. We're going to go for the Karos here. We're going to dump the Kit. Go for Nerval. Nerval grab Fractal. Now I've already normaled, but that's fine. We're going to go for the Fractal effect here, just to dump an additional card into the graveyard. And then we can go for the Bearbrum, and hey, that's lethal on board. My opponent realizes it and scoops it up. Sprite can OTK, trust. Alright, we're back with the deck, and in all honesty, I thoroughly enjoy this deck. It is very fun. I love Tri-Brigade, it's my favorite archetype. Sprite is my second favorite. Put them together, and it doesn't get better, but it's very good. They are very strong, they work very well together. It's really cool how like synergistic Tri-Brigade is just with a myriad of archetypes. Same with Sprite. Very cool to see. Yeah, I just thoroughly enjoy it. It was really fun. The grind was obviously a grind, but this has been one of the most fun metas. The Sprite has been very fun to play against. The Tearlaments has been very fun to play against. Branded has been very fun to play against. The only thing that's not really that great is like stun, but that's always going to be there. People are always going to be playing it because they don't want to play the meta because they think that meta equals bad or something like that. I don't know why people play stun, but to each their own. But yeah, this has been a very fun deck to climb with. It doesn't do like the same thing every time like regular Sprite does. A lot of my end boards were very different. Sometimes I would end on Appo, sometimes I would end with like double Dragon Lords, sometimes it would be more of like Sprite heavy with like the carrot and the red, sometimes we would have like Smashers in there as well, sometimes it would be like Revolt reliant. There is a lot of like instances like that where it was like, oh, this is slightly better. That made it a lot more interesting to play this over just like a regular Sprite where it's kind of like the same thing over and over. But it doesn't quite have as much unique combos as something like Tri-Brigade Lyrilisk, or regular Tri-Brigade even, so it's somewhere in the middle. I really like it. I also love mid-range decks that aren't just like vomit out your whole hand, but instead like, oh, we're gonna do this like half a combo in order to like add follow-up. And this, it's more combo focused, but I mean Tri-Brigade does the half of a combo. And anyway, that's going to be it. Hope that you guys did indeed enjoy it. If you did, I like it very much, so appreciate it. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh!, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.